Welcome everyone back to the Crimson 15 podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Sin.
15 PCA.
Native 454.
Be sure to check us out over on Twitter at C15 Podcast. Join the discussion over on Discord, link in the description below. And if you're enjoying the videos, be sure to sub, like, share, and hit that bell for notifications. Leave for spoilers from here on out. I don't know how long, probably about, what are we, almost 9 minutes in? Then this is going to be spoilers from here on out. So, we have, the first part of the film is just Peter Parker trying to live his life. As everyone knows, he's Peter Parker. So he's like a celebrity everywhere he goes. Everyone's got a camera in his face.
That's crazy.
And he can't even like fight crime really.
No.
But now he's just trying to go, maybe I just be Peter Parker and go to college.
Which he tries to do.
He's trying to get into MIT. And they all want to go. So they're all trying to, they have backup schools, and I want to just spend time with my girlfriend, and everywhere they go, oh, you're Spider-Man's girlfriend, all the cameras in her face, and it's like, dude, leave my girlfriend alone.
Is he a murderer because he got Mysterio going on? So it's like this constant, there's like a side that likes Spider-Man, no, he didn't do that, and there's something he's
he can't even live in Aunt May's place.
Yeah, but they're protesting outside of his house. Yeah. And I guess her and Happy just had like a one night stand, but Happy like fell in love with her. So he's like there, and they come back home, and it's just like all the gags.
The best scene is when, because he's changing, so Mary J's kind of helping him real quick, and then the mom walks in, and it's Happy. Happy walks in, he's like, oh my goodness,
they were trying to go to have sex. Oh god, no!
He's like walking out,
and then Aunt May's like, well, you don't need to be embarrassed. We weren't doing anything.
Just make sure your protection. He's like, mom, like his grandma, or Aunt May, stop.
Because it makes you feel so weird. Well, why are you still doing?
And then because she walked out, but she walked back in because Mary J, oh, I finally meet you, like it's so nice, and she's like, oh my gosh,
it wasn't a sex thing.
You have like 3 news cameras, like helicopters.
Yeah, the helicopters are out there. People are throwing stuff at the windows. It's just this giant mess. So I do like how Happy he's like, oh, I'll get one of Tony's old places, like a really nice condo. Yeah. So like it's away from everyone, has all its security. Yeah. So Peter Parker has that. What do I do? Should I try to still be Spider-Man? Should I just focus on school? Am I making my lives of my aunt, my girlfriend, my best friend, I'm making their lives a living hell because of what I did? Yeah. And should I try to go out there and plead my case? Like, what do I do?
And I thought another little callback, they had Daredevil in it.
Oh, see, that's later. That's later. See, there's a lot of things that people were questioning, saying, is he going to be in the film? Is this person going to be in the film? So he basically has to lawyer up. Yeah. And then the thing you hear Cox's voice. And then he's like, oh, that's it for the freaking... So we have Daredevil. Matt Murdock is in the MCU, and it's the same... what's his last name? Is it something Cox, right? The guy who plays him, the actual actor?
Oh, yeah. No, I know you're talking about Ryan Cox or something.
Yeah, I forget what his last name is. But it's him from the Daredevil Netflix series, so it's the same exact actor. Same glasses, same everything.
So our hope is that if he's connected, everyone that was connected to Daredevil should be in
Give me Luke Cage, give me Jessica Jones. And I don't... Anyone who didn't like Iron Fist because he wasn't Asian, you're just a racist. Shut the hell up. You don't know anything.
You don't know the character.
In the comics, they're making an Asian guy. They're literally getting rid of Danny Rand.
That's nice.
That's okay.
That's stupid, but whatever.
And also at this point, I don't mind the Punisher. I think.
Yeah, I like. He plays a good Punisher. The only thing is, he has the face and everything, but he's not. Like he's not broad shouldered. No, which is really funny because I wanted to be like a man. But he has the gruff. He has the look. So. Please let those things have happened. Yeah. Please. That'd be awesome. Give me Kingpin. Give me Kingpin.
Yep.
Jessica Jones. Give me that. Give me, like you said, Iron Fist. Give me Luke Cage. And
I want all that. I want the heroes for hire.
Yes. I want all
I love street level heroes. Because it's the most, because why can't Thor go lightning bolt and kill everybody? Because he can't. Spider-Man can only punch so many people.
Right.
And Spider-Man's not wanting to kill anyone. So there's all this stuff like that. So I like street level, and he has to get in your face. Yeah. He needs to be in the room with you. He's not like, like the Internals. We're gods, and I can shoot laser beams in my eyes and fly super fast, and he doesn't have any of that.
That's the problem with that. Like you said with the Internals, that's more like a DC character. They're so overpowered. There's nothing interesting about them.
You're gonna have to fight like things off planet.
And what I love about it is because he's like, hey, the charge they have against you, Peter Parker, they're not going to stick. I can get this, or whatever. And then I like how Happy's like, oh, that's good. He's like, well, you Happy, since you actually work for Tony and all stuff, because you need to get yourself the best lawyer. Well, I thought I was going to just say, if he's innocent, I'm innocent. It
doesn't work that way. Oh, wait, I was loving about that, too, because he's like looking at Matt like, aren't you a good lawyer? He's like, no, you need someone better than that.
Yeah, boy, like, for the way you need someone who's like a multi-billion-dollar super mega lawyer, because you're dealing with the government now. And you're gonna have some problems.
I love when they also throw a brick. They're throwing it at Peter Parker, and he just grabs it because he's Daredevil. So
he can sense it. The best part is like, how'd you do that? I'm a really good lawyer. Yes, I can grab bricks because I'm a really good lawyer. I love that because that's just that street level. Stay out of Hell's Kitchen. I love Daredevil.
And Spider-Man should be at that level sometimes. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah. And also what I like too is that having that divide and like, oh gosh, it was so
people
great.
Because when he was in big trouble and before he had to get Matt Murdock as his lawyer, he the government started saying, oh yeah, if you're doing all these things, oh there's like, oh, Nick Fury, I didn't kill him. You can talk to Nick Fury. Nick Fury's been off planet for a long time now. He's like, what are you talking about? Wow. See, because he was a Skrull and it's
that's the Secret Wars. I'm glad it's the only time it's mentioned because I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care about
so
that.
They plant the little seeds of those other things, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then, he's like, well, they get their letters back and they don't get into school.
Yep.
I thought maybe Mary Jane did and the other two didn't.
I thought even his friend did too, but they were just gonna lie for him to say that we all didn't get it.
But I guess none of them did.
Because they said because you're with Spider-Man and he did that thing with Mysterio, we don't know if he killed him or not. But it's like
we don't need
that. We back to the school, like.
And of course, Flash Thompson got in. He's just a freaking piece of crap. That guy.
He's always
he's like these dudes. Get the hell out of here. What made that whole scene funny is because he's all like celebrating, but they all have that look on their face, and he's like, oh.
He's dyed his hair blonde, or is that like a wig? Like what's going on with this guy?
Yeah. He's just a freaking idiot.
And I did like the fact
he wrote a book. Saying, called Flashpoint, which is hilarious. Oh, my life as a Spider-Man's best friend. Dude, you hated his guts. Shut up.
I love that kind of like. It was a nice shot. It wasn't a dirty shot, but it was a funny shot at DC. Flash. That's funny.
And what I love about that too is the fact that he's like, because I thought like, what's he gonna do? Because he loves Spider-Man but hates Peter, and he just loves Peter. I'm like, you little piece of crap.
Yeah. It almost reminds me of Pee-wee and Francis.
Exactly.
Pee-wee's my best friend. And he's the whole time he hated his guts.
I know Francis. Yeah. As soon as he got famous because of the bike. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so similar.
It's so similar.
So they're like, well, then maybe they didn't even get into either of their backup schools.
Nope.
So they don't even know what they're gonna do. Peter Parker's at the end of his rope. What am I gonna do? He goes to Doctor Strange, and that's the whole setup. Can you do a spell where everyone forgets who I am? And they like how since Doctor Strange was snapped away for 5 years, Wong became the Sorcerer Supreme. So he's like, I guess by technicality, we'll just give it back to him. But I like how Wong's kind of throwing his weight around because now technically he's the Sorcerer Supreme and he's the assistant.
What happened, it was funny too because they made a spell and put all this frozen like stuff from the Himalayas, whatever.
Well, because I guess there's a gate that's in and we got open and all the snow just blew through.
Yeah, but I like at the end when Wong says, "You just spell, I want no part of this. I'm out of this. I'm telling you, now I'll change. I don't want this."
He's like, we've done it before. He's like, what do you mean? He's remember that party thing? No, like, see, that's why I know I did it. See, you didn't know because I made you forget. It's so stupid. So Doctor Strange's like, okay, I'm gonna help you out, Peter, because you helped me save the universe. Mm-hmm. And they're going down there, and I do like the fact that Peter Parker is just magic is just like a thing. And it's so easy for Doctor Strange, and it's someone like Peter, he's very scientific. So it's like it's hard for him to wrap his mind around things like that. So he's doing the spell, and he's like, okay, nice knowing you, Spider-Man. Everybody that knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man will forget. I'm going to forget.
Yeah.
Which is going to be funny. He's like, what the hell are you doing in my sanctum? Because literally, everyone's going to forget. He's like, oh, wait. Like, everyone? He's like, yeah, your best friend, Aunt May. Everyone's going to forget. Then he's like, well, can we just make it to where maybe at least Mary Jane knows? And he's like, okay, I can alter the spell a little bit.
But he's doing it as it's happening.
And he keeps...
He's in the circle, too, so he's like,
Which makes it kind of funny. It's almost to the point why didn't Doctor Strange just stop? And they'd be like, Peter, okay, you have to go in the other room, and when we're done, we're done.
But that just makes how eccentric he is, though. Yeah. That is something Doctor Strange, I could continue doing it, because I'm the...
Sorcerer Supreme. And then people are like, why can't he just tell his girlfriend again? But she's going to literally not know who he is. Like, whoa, freak, get the hell away from me. Who the hell are you? Right. It's not like she's going to just forget Peter Parker Spider-Man. She's not going to even know who Peter Parker is.
Yeah.
You don't get it. I mean, they don't know Peter Parker. Yeah. It's not just Spider-Man.
When we watched the trailer, the first one, it kind of didn't explain that very well because it said, like, oh, just tell her again. That's fine. But no, you won't remember the person. Yeah. Like Peter ever existed.
Yeah, she's not going to even know him. So, like, but they're like, whoa, man, she's not going to even know me? And he's like, well, the other thing, and it made the spell went... Pfft. And then you see that Doctor Strange like trapped it, like the spell inside of like this little crystal thing. He's like, yeah, we have that up real bad, kid. The spell it's not gonna work. I trapped it away. Mm-hmm. Forget it. You don't ever ask me for help ever again because obviously you weren't understanding me and I was telling you to shut the hell up. But it was funny because he's like, why did you protest you? Because he's like, oh, I'm sorry you couldn't get into college. He's like, did you even protest it with the dean of like, the schools? Like,
I plead your case.
You can do that. He's like, You didn't do that? You wanted me to wipe the whole world before you just went and talked to him? I didn't know I could do that.
He just kicks him out of the thing. You're out of my sanctum now. You're an idiot.
Which makes it funny because he is a doctor, so he knows these things. You can go and plead your case to the people and say, why are you not letting me in? I have the scores. I have this.
I thought it should have been funny. Shouldn't the KP kicked him out? Wouldn't that have been funny? Because she closed the door.
So Peter calls Flash and he goes, but where's the dean? Because I guess he was going to some party and mixer. And he's like, oh, the dean's on the way to the airport. And he's like, but you have to do something for me. And he's all, well, you have to give me Spider-Man rights to the
for
class.
A month.
That's so stupid. What are you carrying him? What the hell is this?
And he's like, you know what I want?
Yes.
I can say to everyone that I'm your best friend.
Okay, let's do it. You're my best friend. Like, what does that get you? Oh, I know him.
He gets him nothing.
No, it's funny. And then he has to look out for this administration person, but the tech doesn't work, so he can't identify anyone. So it's kind of like he has to...
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like old school Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, how we're saying, like, how everyone complains, he's so fancy, he has all this stuff.
He's Iron Man Jr. That's the biggest
dumb.
effing complaint that people have.
Well, we get to that later, but it's ridiculous.
He finally catches up to the lady, and he just, like, knocks on her window, and he's like, what do you do? He's like, please, give my friends a chance, or whatever. But then that's when you hear the...
And it was kind of a good opener because it's pulling the cars down, so you don't know what's happening. You're like, what?
He's like, okay, everyone's get out of here. But then you see the hello, Peter, and then you get that whole scene from the trailer, and then we get Doc Ock fighting Spider-Man. I do like the fight. It's like, oh, you think that fancy suit's gonna save you? And because as far as he's concerned, that's my Peter was like, what did you do with my machine? My
solar
machine. Because I'm assuming he probably got pulled out right at that moment, right when the particle collider thing was falling into the water. Yeah. So. What, like, it's weird. So to him, everything is like that moment is still happening.
So is this a trick? What's going on here? He
has a pretty cool fight. I love the fight. They're throwing the cars and the way the cars are hitting the water. Yeah. And I love impact. Like when he's grabbing the giant the pipes and slamming them down and crashing into cars. It's cool.
But I love what that fight's going on back and forth. He ends up getting the mission lady, and she's like dangling from the bridge. Spider-Man's holding on to her. He's like, oh, I gotta pull her up.
Just classic Spider-Man. Yeah. Like he's saving the people, and he has to fight the villain at the same time.
Well, the villain knows it too, so the villain's gonna put people in danger because knowing Spider-Man, he has to.
And that was so funny because this is his only mistake. Oh, you got nanotechnology, and he starts taking it. And Peter's like, okay, thank you, and then he takes control of his like technicals
because he sees Spider-Man. This is an Iron Spider suit. Yeah. Then he's looking like, oh, Peter, you're copying me because he has little arms too.
It's so we got competition now. He's all talking to the arms.
But he's thinking that he's gonna steal the tech, but it allowed him to hack into him because this is Stark tech that's so beyond anything.
Yeah, now he's controlling him. He's like, well, this is so humiliating. He's like
he has control over his.
He ends up he's his doc to help the lady.
To pick up the thing. He's like, but he's like, I don't even know who you are, man. What do you mean?
Because even when he takes his thing off, he's like, you're not Peter. Like who are you? And he's like, what do you mean? I am Peter.
He's like, I'll help you. Stop trying to hurt these people.
And he's like trying to punch him, but he can't move. Yeah. Another funny thing I like too is that it confused Peter because he did capture Mary J.
Yeah, he's like, I should have killed your little girlfriend when I had the chance.
And that freaked him out because like, what do you mean? You have like
you know who Mary Jane is?
Like, or you have her, or you try to hurt her. Like
when did that happen?
Yeah, when did this happen? Like.
So confusion. I like the confusion of everyone's like, what the hell's going on?
Then he has no control, and all of a sudden you see a friggin' bomb come out of the
and then
the green goblin, and then that's when Doctor Strange whips him back to the.
So we're like, ooh, this is interesting.
And you put Doc Ock like in this like a mystic cage.
Yeah. And then we get the other scene from the trailer where Lizard Man like jumps from the side.
Yeah.
And it scares him, and it's like, oh shoot.
And he gets put in the thing, and Doctor Strange's like, well, we have an issue here, Peter. When I shut down the spell, some of the people got out. And these are people that know Peter Parker, Spider-Man. And he's like, well, I don't know this guy. Who is this person? And then not even like Ops Corp doesn't even exist in the MCU.
No.
And so it's like all these things. So like when he's like, is that, do you know Spider-Man? And Dr. Octopus is like, yeah, is that him? He's like, no, I don't know who the hell this kid is.
Like, this is our problem.
Yeah, he goes, this is what's happening. He's from another reality that had a different Spider-Man.
Because what happened when they messed up the spell, it made a call to everyone on who Peter Parker's going to come here. Everyone.
Yeah.
So the opposite.
Yeah, it kind of attracted them.
Yeah.
So it pulled them through. So this is how we get our multiverse enemies. So we saw the Lizard, we saw Doc Ock, and we saw the Green Goblin. I mean, he's like, okay, new plan. You need to go find these guys. And he basically gave him like an enchanted web shooter. Just hit him with this, and it'll teleport him straight to one of these cages.
At first, he puts Peter in the cage just to show how it works. Like, okay, you didn't have to do that, but...
And he's like, you need to track these people down. He's like, well, how am I gonna do that? He's like, I don't know, get on the internet. Like, Scooby-Doo this whole thing. And that's when you get that scene that was in the trailer where Mary Jane's like, there's a magic word. It starts with, please.
But I like how he answered it, please.
Yeah, just do
this
it.
crap.
Yeah, just Scooby-Doo this crap. Yeah, it's hurry up.
He's like, I got a lot of things I got to work on this spell and then work on the way to get these guys back. You capture them, we'll stay in contact. And that's when Spider-Man, because his suit got all, the nanotech got all busted up and he has to keep it on the arms to keep control of them. So he can't use his nano suit. And his other suit got all like messed up and everything, so that's why he gets that black suit.
Because he kind of like ripped everything off.
It literally has nothing to do with nothing.
No, it was just like Chris
the
toy.
toy. Yeah. Remember all the speculation about that black suit?
Oh, maybe it's something cool.
It's a cosmic suit. Oh, maybe it's magically imbued. It's nothing.
It's nothing.
Disney.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff you can say was kind of, come on, dude.
But it's so little, minor.
Yeah.
And it was kind of stupid that he has like his cell phone like FaceTiming. So like his
because he ends up bringing Ned and Mary Jane basically with him. Yeah, I need to help, like whatever.
Yeah, they're looking through the internet and like YouTube videos to see if anyone's seen.
Because there's someone at the power grid and there's something like a flying monster. Well, that's got to be our green guy. So it's super funny because to them he's never faced these enemies and these are like Spider-Man's like classic villains and he doesn't have no idea who the hell they are.
No. Right.
So he's going to the forest because that's where the power plant is. And he has like the phone taped to his chest so they can watch too. It's so stupid. Like,
how did you even see anything? He's swinging, so it's like probably so herky jerky.
But they're out there, and of course Ned's like, "Oh, Ned, I can help you out." He's always wanted to be so helpful to him.
Oh, Ned, and also so funny. He talked to Doctor Strange for a little bit. My mom says I have a little tingle in my. It was his mom or grandma in my hand, and I always thought that was magic. And he's like, "Oh my gosh!" He's like, "No,
kid, no, shut the hell up."
No,
go to a medical
Doctor
doctor.
Strange does not like children. He doesn't have nothing to do with freaking children.
And Ned's trying to be so nice and trying to be like so like
irritated at the same time.
It's so irritated at the same time. Yeah.
Well, I can't believe him mistaking because now neither am I. I'm that you're here. I know I don't want you here.
Neither can I.
And I love how the fact that Ned's like so reverent because they have to go like to the basement basically, but he like called it something else and he's like, oh,
and it looks like an actual like dump of a basement, but Ned's like, this is awesome.
Right, he treats it like
washer and dryer and there's some soap on the side like what you see in a normal basement.
And then like Ned thinks it's like the coolest thing in the world.
Anyways, but yeah, he goes to that grid.
They go to the grid and it's Electro. And I like this version because he's not like a dork. He's like Jamie Foxx. Like he's cool.
Yeah.
Well, so he requested that. He goes, "You're not gonna make me like you did in the other movie. It was so bad. It was bad."
But he's at the end of that movie where he's like pure energy. So he's like how he tries to like web him and it just goes right through him because he's not. He's pure energy. Yeah. And it's like made a tree go down there. It's like oh. Then we get that fight. Then we see some like the ground start to rumble. I'm like, what the hell is that? Fucking Sandman's in this.
Yeah, man.
They kept so many secrets. He's like. He's out, Spider-Man, and then Peter, let me help you out. And he's like, okay, he just accepts his help. Because at the end of Spider-Man 3, they kind of came to an understanding.
Right, and he's like, I'm going to go live with my daughter and just leave me alone. Okay, fine, you know, like.
So I thought that was kind of cool that he came to his, like, help. So he did, like, a big sand, because, again, like, Earth will ground electricity. Yeah. So he's basically getting them all wrapped up and everything. And Spider-Man's doing his Spider-Man thing, he's swinging around. But it kind of sucks for Spider-Man to be in the woods because he loses his verticality.
You can't, yeah.
Because you can only go so high.
Yeah,
there's only so many.
Yeah, see, when you're in New York, there's tall buildings. You can
go everywhere. So they end up getting Electro down, and he gets his physical form back. But he's like, this world feels different. The energy here is different. I like this. I like it. Well, it's like a new world for me to take over. Yeah. But he ends up getting them all like trapped again. And then he sees Peter Parker. Simon's like, wait a minute, you're not Peter. Who the hell are you trying to trick me?
Right. And then he's like kind of worried because he's like, what'd you do with him? Because they teleported him back to the sanctum. He's like,
did you kill him?
And he's like, no. You got to trust me.
The thing about Simon, I don't have trust. I have trust issues. I don't trust anyone.
And he's not saying that he's stupid, but he's a very common man.
Yeah.
So like he's not gonna understand the idea of multiverses.
Yeah. He's like, did you just kill Spider-Man? And you took his place.
Yeah. Or you killed Electro now.
Yeah. He just killed Electro right now.
So, but basically, he gets him put in the thing too.
And there's also that stupid joke where he's like naked, remember? And he's like, "So anyone gonna question I'm naked?" I'm like, I was gonna ignore it.
I was gonna ignore it the whole time. So that's why he's wearing like worker clothes.
Yeah.
This was him. Is he wearing Timberlands? He's wearing the guy's boots because he just had no clothes at all.
Mm-hmm.
So they got them all trapped. I'm thinking this movie's gonna end pretty quick.
And then we see the Green Goblin, right?
Yeah, we see they still haven't caught the Green Goblin.
No.
But the whole thing, so they're down in that thing, and he's like, "Hey, caught a couple more of your guys." Doctor Strange is explaining, "Oh, I got this box. I contained it in there. Once I complete the spell, it's gonna send these guys back." But then they're talking about Green Goblin. He's like, if you thought you saw Green Goblin, you didn't because Norman's dead. And Doc Ock's like, I saw him dead. I know he's dead. But then they start figuring out, oh my goodness, we're all supposed to be dead. We all got killed by Spider-Man.
It's when it picked them like before the time they were supposed to die, like seconds outside of Sandman, of course, because he was let go.
But then Doctor Strange's like, that doesn't matter, Peter. They die, they die. Who cares? But he's like, no, we can help them. There's things that we can do. We can save them, and that's when they get because Norman rejected the Green Goblin, so he's just like a crazy bum. He doesn't know there's no Oscorp. Where's my son? He just like stumbled into the thing, and that's when Aunt May's like, yeah, one of your guys is here, and he's like, oh my god, he's there to fight her. So he's like running through there, and he's just like eating soup. He's just like, oh hi Peter.
Right. He even steals a couple donuts. He's all just like this, like
and then what
like a bum, like a homeless guy.
And then what I love too, they threw some old things from the movie because he still talked to the mask, but then he broke it. But I'm like, that's really a nice callback.
Oh, from the original Weakling Osborn.
Yeah, there's a new world we can conquer, and you're just cowering in fear. And I'm like, I like that. I like
So. He went to Aunt May because I saw the thing about Spider-Man and I came here. Maybe you can help me.
Right.
So he just seems like this feeble old man now. Yeah. He's just scared and lonely. And he's like, there's no Oscorp here? What about my son?
My son. And he's like kind of almost crying because he's like, I don't know where my son is. I don't know where
I am.
I'm
confused. I'm scared. Then it's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to send him back to go die?
Yeah, because that'd be right at the moment where Peter jumps and the
glider, bam, gets him. So now this is a whole dilemma. Is it morally right for Spider-Man to send someone to their death knowing they're going to die?
And there's something that he could actually do to help them.
And he's like, then Aunt May's like, no, Peter, you can't do that. Well, there's no way. I got to get my life back.
That's not my problem.
Then he's like, are you doing this for your friends or is this for you, Peter? And then it's like that whole thing, like maybe I am doing it for me.
Yeah, is it easier?
And that's not Spider-Man's way.
Is it the way, or is it just easier for you to send them back and not deal with it?
Yeah, not have to worry about that.
Well, that's another universe. What do I care?
Yeah.
That kind of attitude.
So then when Peter Parker, Norman gets put into the cube, the little cell, he's all scared.
Yeah.
And then Octavius sees him and he's like, well, I guess he isn't dead. What the hell? There he is.
I've seen ghosts, I guess,
And then the lizard, he can talk, but he has been silent the whole time. And then they keep thinking he's like a dinosaur. He's like, well, he's not a dinosaur.
He's not a dinosaur. And it's funny, he's talking to Jamie Foxx's character and he's like, oh, you look a lot better now. He's like, before I know you had a comb over and teeth and all that. And he's like, and then I'll give you a new makeover. Yeah, I can turn me into a freaking lizard.
Yeah, we don't want to be a lizard. How about that?
It's the future. I'm like, shut up.
The next evolution of mankind. Like, shut the hell up.
I don't want that.
So now here's our dilemma, moral dilemma. Does Peter Parker, knowing that these people are going to die, send them to their deaths?
See, this is a real question. There's no easy answer. This is death.
And also I love, too, it's a good comic book. I would read this. I would love to read this.
Like the first Civil War. Civil War 2 was stupid. Civil War 1 was good because you had that dilemma where it's like, well, you have two sides of an issue where I kind of agree with points on both sides.
Right. And then
it's another universe. They made their decisions. Right. They got themselves killed. So like you're sitting back to Spider-Man, he's like, and he snaps their necks. No, they set themselves up and put themselves in horrible situations.
But we have a chance to do the right thing in the end.
But now you have a do-over. He's like, maybe we can help them. And Doctor Strange's like, we got to close this all up. I know you want to do like this, like, I'll take him to therapy and then you can like rehabilitate the villain. He's like, I don't care. I'm finishing the spell. And then Spider-Man just takes that box away from him. And he's just like, tries to take off. And then I like how Doctor Strange's like, oh God, kid, okay, why are you doing this?
Yeah, so he's like, he starts opening portals to like mess him up. And
this is a funny thing. He ends up doing the whole little soul punch thing and knock him out of his body. Then he tries to grab the box and his body keeps moving.
How's he doing
this? That's his inherent spider sense.
So what happens is even if he's knocked out, his
body will try to protect itself.
But Peter was so strong, he got back in his body again. He goes, no one's ever done that before. And he did.
I was like, because it was almost like a puppet because he's like, whoop.
Because his head was still down.
And the fact that Spider-Man's so physically strong, he couldn't just grab it out of his hands anyways. No. He would have to like hurt him, and he doesn't want to hurt Peter.
Right.
But he's able to get back into his body, and then that's when Doctor Strange's like, F it. He like takes him to one of those mirror universes, which always looks amazing. Because the buildings bend and twist, and the glass shatters.
And then what is this? This is a mirror universe,
he's
basically.
Like, where I'm master here. Yeah. Where their magic is through the roof. So he's doing all these things, and Spider-Man's like, what's going on? And he's like, Peter, you can't save them. But the same thing in Peter Parker, I have to try. I cannot forgive myself if I know I didn't try everything.
And it's a good battle back and forth. And one thing I liked is Peter Parker solved the problem with his math because he's
geometry.
He's like, this is all geometry right now.
When the cape grabbed him, then he's the Spider Supreme because
he's like trying to pull him back.
It's so stupid. But he's like, wait a second. He goes, this is like some type of theorem. He's like, this whole world is just based off of math and
angles.
Angles and geometry. So he shoots all his webs, and it's in the right perfect spot that to tie up. Doctor Strange's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to just leave you here, and he takes his ring off his finger, so he's stuck there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's the whole idea about math being magic too?
Yeah, it is.
He's a mathematician.
It's a mathematician. Well, no, what I love too.
Well, remember, when Thor explained that too, saying
like
that's what magic are kind of one and the same.
And I like that because also there is a universe where Peter does become the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not that far off that, he would kind of master that really quickly.
Yeah.
Because he's, in another universe, he's done it.
So, but at this point in the movie, I'm thinking, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, and we still have a lot of movie left.
I'm thinking, like, what's Peter's plan? Take him to therapy and talk him, don't be a bad guy. Like what was he gonna do?
I don't know. And then you have Osborn over there saying like, oh, I'm kind of a scientist myself. I can help. And I'm like, I don't know if I trust you.
The
line is really good.
I fancy myself a scientist. And he has that smile, that
I love how
William Dafoe smile.
I love how everyone they think's like, we're all scientists. What are you talking about? We're all.
That's super funny how they're all really crazy smart.
Yeah, same thing. Electro was a scientist too. All of them were.
Yeah, he's like an engineer. It's like they all
engineer, Chemical was the lizard. Osborn is like military.
The military tech. But this is really funny. What I really like about this whole situation is he gives the box to Mary Jane. He's like, hey, I'm going to try to help these guys. Basically all you have to do is like pop it down and it's going to go off. Take it, go somewhere. If I don't contact you within like 6, 7, 12 hours, just hit the button.
Yeah.
So basically that's their fail safe. So he just takes them to Happy's place that's in that condo, and you see like all these like this is me and my supervillains are like on camera. I'm thinking, what is this? You have Spider-Man taking the Sinister Six out the lunch.
I love he says, who wants to go with me? Of course they all said
yeah. It's the death or
get help. Yeah, and then I love too how Lizard stays in the van, and he's just like, he prefers to be down there. I'm like, yeah, it probably freaked a lot of people out. Big old Lizard man walking around.
But so they're gonna try to help Doc Ock because he still has control over his tentacles because of the nanotech. Then it's him and Osborn working together.
Oh, and it's so nice.
And he has that fabricator, and then the energy creeps up, and then Electro's like, I kind of like that. That energy's powerful.
And which is because it's powered by one of
an arc reactor. Imagine Electro with a full blown arc reactor.
Oh, he'd be unstoppable. Yeah.
So they're like, okay, we're gonna start with you, Dr. Octavius, and then they're working together, and that what Osborn wanted. A lab partner.
It's really sad because he wanted that lab partner to be his son, but his son wasn't.
He's smart, but not that.
He's not Peter Parker smart, no. And that's what. Almost, what's sad about it? I love that dynamic because it's a classic Greek tale of the man that made the wings, Icarus.
Yeah.
Because the son and Icarus wasn't smart, but his nephew was, and he got jealous and he ended up killing his nephew because he wasn't smart like his son. And that's what I feel like that's what happened.
Yeah, you get this like it's a Greek tragedy.
Yeah, because he's really mad that he's like, Peter, you're exactly everything I want, but you're not my son. And it kind of makes him jealous, angry, kind of, like, it's really sad. It's super sad because he even tells him, like, if you ever needed a job, if you want to travel universes.
You get a job at Oscorp.
Yeah, because, like, he's smart because he's like, wow.
And also he goes, this technology is wild. It's far beyond anything. And he has, like, military contracts. He has no technology like this.
Yeah.
So they're able to reprogram that chip. And they save Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, they put it back in because they're saying like his mind's being controlled by it and he's not controlling them.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the other way around.
But they put him in there and he kind of like shuts down. Like, oh my god, I killed him.
Yeah, everyone's like, whoa.
You freaking killed him. But I guess like his whole mind had a reboot.
Yeah, like a minute
later.
Like,
what's going on? And then because like, the voices are gone. And I can just think clearly. It's gone. And like a little tear in my eyes. Oh, he's
a normal guy.
Yeah, and then it's funny because Osborn and him are like they actually get to talk to each other. Like, oh, you're alive, and he's like, oh, you're well, like you're not crazy.
Yeah, you're not the crazy Green Goblin. You're just like a guy.
And you're Octavius. You're fine.
And they both know each other's work.
Yeah.
I like before he puts in, he's like, I'm gonna get you for this, and then all of a sudden, all goes away.
And he takes the nano machines out, and he has full control of his arms. It's like, oh, Doc Ock, because even in Spider-Man 2, I'm like, he seems like such a nice guy, but then the tentacles effed his brain up.
Right.
It'd be a crime not to. That's the real crime. So I'm like, oh, this rehabilitation thing is kind of working. So now they have 3 scientists. They got Dr. Ock, Peter Parker, and freaking Norman Osborn all working on helping. So they basically develop a way to drain Electro's electric energy and restabilize his atoms. Yeah. So he basically won't be a supervillain anymore.
No.
He'll be a regular guy.
They slap it on him and it's basically it looks like a kitchen timer. But he goes, as soon as thing finally goes off, you'll
be human.
But then he kind of doesn't like that deal and I go back to being a nobody.
And he's like,
that was his whole thing.
But see, that's where that therapy would come in. Where like, you're not a nobody. You're
smart.
Smart. You're engineer.
You're dedicated.
And now you have a new body, so you don't look dorky. You look
no,
freaking
not
awesome.
only that. No, you look like you have confidence now.
Yeah.
So that dorkiness is gone.
Yeah, that old you is gone. And I love the fact he's like, the last thing I want is to be killed by a wizard, D&D guy. So let's get me out of here.
So it's doing the countdown, and I'm thinking, okay, so now they're developing the serum
for Green
Goblin. But then, as this is all happening, Electro's he's not liking it. I want to keep this power because he sees that arc reactor that's powering thing. He wants it.
And of course, at that right moment, James Jameson shows up.
James is like, because he's been following. We're gonna catch the Spider-Man out here.
And then they're calling the cops, and I'm like, oh. And then that's when the lizard's like, it's the beginning. It's all gonna fall to crap.
So then, the last second, Electro, he goes up against it. Then everyone's like, panicking, and then we kind of see. Norman kind of slipping back into letting the Green Goblin take control. I'm like, oh no, it was so close. He was pitiful. Man, could you imagine killing him and he's like a puppy dog that doesn't he can't do it. But everything goes to pots. Of course, the only one who's good is Dr. Octavius, but then
Electro shocks him, boom, knocks him on. It's like, oh, damn, there's only one ally you had.
That's when the lizard, boom, he breaks out. Then freaking Jameson's down there. Oh, see, this is his teammates, all his cronies. His team of bad guys that the Spider-Man came up with.
Yeah. And Green Goblin's just messing him up.
This action scene is brutal. Because we forget, oh, damn, he is super strong. Because that gas made him crazy strong. So he's able to go toe-to-toe with Spider-Man.
Right. And then also sad too because he's telling Aunt May to run because like even Peter because he sensed it all before it happened.
Do you like the way the spider sense was portrayed where everything was like slowing down and he's like
everyone's like what are you doing? He's like hey it's one of these guys are turning bad which one and he's trying to figure it out.
I love the way the spider sense was like portrayed in the film. I thought it was really cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, and
then he knew it was Green Goblin and he tried to stop him, but
it was too late.
And that's when Electro's like, "Here's my shot!" Boom, pulls that thing off. And
because I think Disney threw like a bomb. He threw a bomb in the reactor thing.
Yeah,
and blew it up.
And I love how he was fighting him, and here's the antidote for Green. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And then he's fighting him, literally punching him through the friggin' floors of the building.
But Green Goblin's slamming him around and breaking
and then Peter's punching him. But then funny thing because we never realized this Peter Parker really pulls his punches. He doesn't fight all the way. That's why Green Goblin was laughing. He's like, yeah, this is easy. You're not fighting.
Oh, you're and that's the whole thing.
You're weak.
You're weak. Oh, your aunt thought you could take me and talk to me and make me better. I am already better. I don't need to be fixed.
His line, like, gods don't need to be like
we're better than them. Yeah. Why do we want to be like them?
Dude, William Dafoe's 66 and he still friggin' has it. He's still going now. 20 years later, he can pull out Green Goblin. It's crazy.
So then I'm thinking, would it have been better just to send him to die?
Yeah.
All this destruction's happening. Joe James down there, and he sees because that's when Sandman backs out too. I'm getting the hell out of here. And then he's like, "Well, did you see that?" Because there's all these other monsters and crazy giant lizard guy. And of course, he paints him the words like these are the people you want to protect. How they treat you. You're a menace. You're a monster. They don't care about you. Why care about them? And a pragmatic way of thinking would be like, yeah, F them.
Yeah.
But Peter Parker can't be like that. But that fight is. They're slamming around. They literally go from floor to floor.
And then even the lizard comes in and starts beating him up. I'm like, oh gosh, Peter, you're getting
pounded.
Yeah, he's getting some macarood. But they get down to the bottom floor. The cops are there, and that's when, of course, Green Goblin always has the monologue. And then Aunt May gets him with the neck. It doesn't work. Maybe he needed a couple doses.
Yeah,
it didn't work. And then. He's like, oh, see, here's your aunt. She's the one who poisoned your mind. She caused you to think that everyone's worth saving. There's people you can't save, and you don't need to save them. He's like doing all this stuff. But that's when he kind of just, because his glider, remember the whole trick, the slam of the glider?
Hits her.
And it hits her. Boom! It kind of knocks her. I'm like, oh, God, that knocked the hell out of her.
And then the mess up he picks up Peter and makes her like look at her and says, you're going to thank
me. Look what
you
did. You did this.
You did this, and look, you're going to thank me later. And he touches the bomb and chucks it behind him.
And then all of a sudden breaks up the rest of the ceiling, so they're like, there's rubble everywhere.
The bomb blows up. He's trying to save Aunt May, but he's not fast enough, and you don't know what happened.
He gets his glider and takes off. And
everyone's like, whoa. At this part of the movie, it was silent.
He goes to the Aunt May. She's like, oh, effed up. Oh, God, she's not dead. Thank God.
Not dead.
Then she's like, Peter, even though it turned out like this, you did the right thing. I'm like, oh. Then you get the line. Because, you have to do this. You have to help. When you help one person, you help everyone.
We help everyone. And then she also says, because you have great power, that means you have really more
a great responsibility. Yep. Then he's like, it's okay, we're gonna get you to the hospital. And he pulls his hand back from behind, and it's just gouged in blood.
She's losing.
So she is dying. And then he's like, it's fine, nothing's wrong. Aunt May, we're gonna get you to the hospital, and everything's gonna be fine. And she's like, Peter.
And so messed up. This is when the SWAT team comes in, and they're like, come on, guys, really?
And then Happy's there, and Happy's seeing her die, and then he's seeing Peter in this way.
And then you hear Peter's voice, I need help. Like he hears his voice cracking because he doesn't. And know what they do? Can shoot at him. At those freaking SWAT guys.
They shoot at him, and then on top of that, you can hear it Happy in the background saying, "Run, just run, just leave," because they're gonna blame you for it, no matter what. You're gonna say that you killed her.
And he had to abandon Aunt May there. She died.
And
the last thing she said to him was, "With great power comes great responsibility."
Wow, that was powerful.
Oh, that's so powerful.
And it's just so powerful. It's sad. It's the classic Spider-Man story, but done a little bit because it's a different Peter. Beautiful. And it was done by Green Goblin of all things, so it's like this really hodgepodge.
And so you have Peter just all beat the hell up. Then you hear the Jameson on the thing. See it here, folks. The menace, he strikes again. All this menace and destruction. Wherever Spider-Man goes, destruction follows.
Even if these cohorts weren't part of him, he always brings destruction no matter where he goes.
And after all this damage and dozens hurt, there's one confirmed dead. And then it's Aunt May, and then she was a beacon of the city, and like she was because she helped all those homeless people. Mm-hmm. And then he had to sit there and watch it, and then he was directly responsible for her death.
Right, and it's just kind of hard to sit there and like have someone here trash talk you, and you can't really say.
And can he deny what Green Goblin said?
Right
in that moment.
Right, or even the fact that if I wasn't Spider-Man, she wouldn't be dead.
She wouldn't be dead. Then nothing would be happening. So during all this, because
the friends,
MJ, they don't know what's going on. She's like, I'm gonna hit the button. I'm worried. And he's like, I just wish I could see Peter. And then we see a little spark. I'm like, homeboy gets magic because he got the ring.
He put the ring on just to be stupid. And no, they're like, whoa, it sparked. Like,
so he's like, we need to find Peter Parker.
And then it opens.
And like we see Spider-Man. You see Spider-Man suit. He turns and he kind of waves. And I'm thinking, but why is he being so weird about
why would he run? Because he would be so sad.
But we see him get closer and like. He's a little tall for Tom Holland. And he jumped through and he puts Andrew Garfield. That son of a bitch. He said he wasn't in the movie. For how long did he keep saying he wasn't in the movie?
For a long time. He kept telling me, you're stupid, don't know.
He really freaking laid it on.
They didn't ask me. They don't want me in the film. Guys, stop bothering me. It pisses me off because I wasn't in the film.
Oh, he laid it on thick.
He laid it on thick, and that son of a bitch is in the film.
Loved it.
The theater went berserk.
Right, and it was classic him kind of Peter because he's kind of like, okay, what's going on here? Like, this is weird.
And it's Andrew Garfield. Oh God, you got to see many shades of Peter because Tom Holland Peter Parker is different from Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. And then they have this whole like this is where like the gags come in. She's like, who are you? She's like, well, I'm Spider-Man. I'm Peter Parker. No, you're not Peter Parker. And she's like throwing things at him. He's like, what are you doing? Well, if you're Spider-Man, you'll be able to dodge him. He's like, not for bread, lady. The only things that won't hurt me aren't gonna.
Because every our Spider-Man has the tingle. He's like, I have the tingle, but not for bread. Like it's not gonna hurt me.
And then, like, the grandma comes downstairs and she's like, what, this is just a magic portal? Some guy...
She's like, is this some demon magic? What is this?
Says, and she's talking, and then she talks in another language, obviously, and it's funny because then there's, like, a translation goes, can you get the cobweb that's up there?
Because he's like, go crawl around. He's like, he, like, grabs the roof and he sticks. Oh, like, actually crawl around and stuff. Come on. And then he actually goes up there and he does a little spider crawl up there. It's so stupid. Right. And he kind of just swooshes away.
Because it's so funny, he doesn't have to do any of this. He's just doing it just to humor them because...
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's
because then you get, like, Andrew Garfield's like, I was just being Spider-Man and I found myself here and I saw the news report and then I've been looking for this Peter Parker. But then I found you guys and you guys say you're friends. Okay, like, let's say we can work together.
And they're like, oh yeah, this is like a multiverse thing. And then of course he's like, multiverse, I knew it was real. Like,
yeah, he's like, oh, quantum mechanics because they're smart.
They're smart.
So he's like, oh God, he knew something like that was possible. So it's just seeing another Spider-Man and going back to those films and not saying no, they weren't real, stupid, that they were just movies. No, they really happened out there somewhere in the multiverse. That Peter Parker exists, and I think that's so cool. Beautiful.
And I love that about the MCU that they do so well. Those movies make sense. That would be like having a Batman movie.
They didn't have to do this.
No, they didn't have to do this. But it'd have like a Batman movie with all the other Batmans and be like, oh, they actually all happened.
Yeah,
like they're all just different universes.
And the thing is, not only did the MCU not have to do this, they didn't have to do it so good.
No,
they didn't have to treat it with reverence. They didn't have to be kind to Andrew Garfield.
And they could have been also honest and spoil it. Oh yeah, he's in the movie. Yeah, and this, And like, yeah, that would have ruined the shock.
But then, so nice to be surprised. The last time you've been surprised in a movie, generally.
It's funny because they talk about multiverses, then they're talking about magic. Then Andrew Garfield's like, "There's magic here too." And he's like, "Well, this place is
like,
crazy."
Yeah, that's what I did. And then so then they try again.
They're like, "Okay, we have to punch. We have to find Peter Parker. And then they open it up again. And they go, "Oh God, you can't do this to me. You cannot give me Andrew Garfield, and without giving me Tobey Maguire." I like if they're like, I'm in my seat. I'm like bending back the handrest. You got it.
And then he opens it and you see a guy, and you're like, "What? What is that?" And then, freaking, it's him.
It's Tobey Maguire. Oh my God,
way older, but it's great.
I love it so much. Because in the moment you hear Peter speak and it's Tobey Maguire. It's like, oh, he never stopped being Spider-Man.
No. And my goodness, the audience was whooping and hollering, and it was great.
It's a great movie experience.
Right, and then you have that moment where it's the Peter Parker
sees him, and they both shoot their webs
and they jump up, and they're like, "Okay, we're both Spider-Man then, I guess."
It's like they're all ready to fight, but it was funny because he's in his spider suit and Tobey Maguire's just like in clothes. So it's like, but we have the 3 Spider-Man are in this film. Then I thought, oh, they're gonna just be in it for a second,
and they're gonna go
away. But you know what? At that moment, I didn't give 2 craps.
They were in the movie.
Good. I got it, and it was beautiful.
And then Maguire said, "Well, I've been looking for this other Peter Parker. Do you know where he's at? I've been looking for him because I'm stuck in this universe. I gotta find out."
And then the one from Tobey Maguire is like, where does he go to find solitude and to be by himself? Because I chose, the Empire State Building, I believe, and then he said,
he's the Chrysler Building, and he's the Empire State Building. Well, it's a pretty good view. That's pretty good. The way they talk to each other, because they know without ever meeting, you kind of know you. Even if from a different universe, you kind of know you.
Yeah. Which is kind of an interesting theory to think about. Like, there's other yous out there that are somewhat different, but not 100%.
And so, but then Mary Jane knows. And then the term was like, you're Mary Jane. Oh, I don't like using that name because she doesn't like her dad or whatever. And she's like, well, okay. He's like, you look nothing like my Mary Jane, but that's fine. Who cares? Yeah. So they see him up there, and of course we get like the hugs and everything. It's like there's some people that they need there to hear, and they need to talk to you. Then he kind of senses he's like getting ready. Like, no, these are other Peters. And he's like, oh, they're Peter Parker. He's like, what was that supposed to?
And we get this very touching moment because you have the Peter that just went through everything. He's like, you guys can't help. You don't know what I'm going through. And they're like,
nah, we do, homeboy.
Yeah, we do.
There's a lot of things that happen to us, and then it's just they all have their tragedies in different ways, and it's just something about Peter Parker has to go through these tragedies, and that's what makes him such a wonderful hero. His tragedy wasn't his dad didn't say he was going to be on the baseball team, or girls aren't allowed to play boy sports. He actually has real tragedies, not stupid Captain Marvel's tragedies. That's her motivation. Someone told her she couldn't play baseball,
or like the Ironheart. Oh, I had a teacher tell me I was bad.
So I begged my teacher to be racist
because it's so thin-skinned. And so 2021. That's what kids think of.
Because what irritates me too, if Carol Danvers did have a background on Peter Parker, would she even be able to make it? I don't know.
No, she couldn't handle tragedy like this.
No,
I have to kill everything. And then that's when he's like, I want to kill him. And he's like, we can't do that. That's not us. Well, you don't know me. And he's like, because my aunt just died. And then man, they're like, oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And then she says, I have this great power. And then Tobey Maguire finishes it. And he goes, how'd you know that? I'm crying. And
then he's like, well, because Uncle Ben told it to me. And
the day he died.
And then Andrew Garfield said the same thing. He's like, yeah, he did. And then he's thinking that's where Aunt May got it from.
Yeah.
It's from.
And he's like, I felt like because they talked about like Gwen Stacy was my MJ, and I couldn't save her.
Yeah.
And that's when he says, and then for a while I was angry and I stopped pulling my punches. So did Andrew Garfield go on and start killing people?
Probably.
And then he said,
did he get the Venom suit and go through that whole
that whole arc?
Yeah.
There's another movie here. There's another movie with Andrew Garfield. There's a couple.
I would hope if Sony was smart, they would do a movie with him.
Or even just like a 30-minute.
Yeah, something special. Yeah. Same thing with him and Tobey Maguire, so we can see what they've been up to.
Let's get it on Kickstarter. Let's fund this thing.
Let's fund this thing. I don't care if it's animated. Just get his voice. I would love it.
So he's like, but I did that. I did what you did, what you wanted to do.
And I don't want you to go down that path.
Nothing for me. And the emptiness in my heart is still there.
That's what Maguire said too. Tobey Maguire, because he said when he lost Uncle Ben, he went to the guy who attacked him and it didn't do nothing for me.
He died and he didn't help me.
No.
And I got what I wanted. He died and nothing. Nothing to do.
The pain didn't go away. The sadness.
You don't need to do this. We're all here. We can help each other. And like, oh man, Triple Spider-Man.
And
that it's everything. It's everything because you have I'm at a loss for words because when Andrew Garfield is thinking, oh, that's Peter Parker. Then when Tobey Maguire's speaking, oh yeah, that's Peter Parker. Then when Tom Holland's talking about all his traits, oh that's Peter Parker. They're all Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And they're all do it in a different way, but they're all 100% Spider-Man.
Yeah. Right. And then they're like, okay, let's get to work. And they all go to the lab. And I'm like, oh my
they
gosh,
fix the machine because they're all super smart.
And like how they're kind of working with each other and everything.
So beautiful.
And tell me that this isn't heartbreaking because they're all down there working and then Tom Holland's doing stuff and Mary Jane's like helping him. She's like giving him a hug. Then you see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire like, they're all like sad because they don't have their ladies.
Well, yeah, and that's what makes it sad, especially for Garfield because he hasn't even gotten to Mary Jane yet. Yeah. He's still on Gwen.
And Gwen died.
And then we don't know for Toby because again at the end of the movie they were somewhat friends, but they kind of were more separated, so we don't know.
Where did that relationship go?
Oh well, there's another sad part too where the Tobey Maguire's character is like, oh, I can work on the Green Goblin serum. I've been working on it for years. So it's like he's been trying
to save Osborn.
Yeah. He was trying to save him and his son. So it's like, oh, it's kind of heartbreaking.
Because Harry.
Yeah, because Harry died, but he's like, I'm still going to do it so that and maybe in some weird way I can...
It's saving in a weird way.
Yeah.
And then like how Garfield's like, oh, I have to lizard. I already know how to fix him.
Yeah.
And then I'll take care of Electro. So like they're all working together, baking all the stuff, the thing, and then there's Ned. So do you guys have like best friends or whatever? Like, I had a best friend once. He died in my arms after you tried to kill me. And then there's like he's like scoots away all slow. And he, like on Ned, he goes and he talks to his Spider-Man. I promise you, bro, I'll never turn evil and try to kill you. He's like, well, thank you, Ned, for that.
He's like, I'm glad. And then Garfield in the background's like, yeah, good job. Like,
dude, man, that's a bro move. Don't try to kill your best friend.
And then there's another touching moment because he's like,
so many good moments.
And he's making the serum. And he's like, we're gonna save Green Goblin. And then R. Peter's kind of like not looking at him. He's like, no, we need to.
Yeah, we have to save Norman.
And he's like,
okay,
right? He's like,
when you boys ain't looking, I'm killing him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm out to kill him.
So they have to come up with their big plan.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they talk about they're getting ready for battle. So they're loading up their web shooters, and Tobey Maguire's like, "What are those for?" He's like, for a web. He's like, "What do you mean?" Like, you just don't think, "Whoa, that came out of your body." And so that was always a point of contention because in every version of Spider-Man, he's always made his web shooters, but Tobey, they just part of his body. They're like, well, that's freaking convenient. Like, I wish because I've run out of webs.
How many times we've ran out of cartridges and I'm kind of like stuck and like I didn't have that.
And then Peter's like, yeah, that really does suck. And then he's like, I just do it. He's like, now I feel kind of awkward. He's like, put his hands back in his pockets, like, I don't want.
Because it's like the fact that how Toby's like, why in the world do you need web cartridges? What the hell's that?
Yeah.
Because they have actual web shooters.
Yeah, so he makes his own, so it's like, okay, it's a little weird.
I love it. All those little things are great.
And I love the callbacks because, again, like I said, there were little inside jokes that we made fun of and other fans, and it's just awesome. They worked so well, those three.
One of the best jokes, because Garfield is the crap-talking Spider-Man, and he's like, okay, so we're going to battle. I was like, hey, you're going to go dress up like a youth pastor, or you're going to actually have your spider suit? And he had it underneath. He's like, okay, good. But to see the old spider suit with the textured web, oh my gosh, I love that spider suit so much.
And also another touching moment is when Garfield is sitting there and he's kind of sad and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I think you'll find your Mary Jane." And it's like kind of touching.
Just give it some time.
Give it some time, because again, he has never met her, so he's like, so every Peter knows like, no, Mary Jane's your real love. But I know he's still hurting. So it's kind of thing, and then he said he made it work with Mary J.
Because when he was like, it seems tragic, but we made it work.
So I'm like, ooh, so did he get back?
Oh my God, what wouldn't I give for Spider-Man 4? And this is the trailer. You see Spider-Man webbing people have been fighting. And then he's like, oh, that's pretty good. And it's freaking Spider-Man's daughter, Mayday Parker. Yeah. And it's older. And Tobey Maguire's older now. He's training his daughter, and she's the new Spider-Girl. Give me that movie. By God, give me that movie.
Forget your dumb idea that you have 9,000 characters from the Spider-Man characters.
Yeah, remember Sony said that we have 50,000 Spider-Man characters.
No, just do these characters. You don't have to
worry about
this.
There's another Andrew Garfield movie. There's another Tobey Maguire movie. There's another Tobey Maguire series in here. Oh my God, I want it so bad. So they're getting ready, and I guess they come up with the plan. And just like in every movie, we're not in on the plan. We figure out the plan as it's happening. Yeah,
and also, I love how R. Peter's like, Ned, you can magic? He's like, yeah, I can.
He's like, that's dope. And they have a little handshake.
Which is really funny, because if you think about it, like, if I was Doctor Strange, I would invest on that kid. He did it with no training. Strange took months?
Yeah.
And he just did it out of just feeling, because he wanted to see his friend.
I do like this. So the plan is they fight at the Statue of Liberty. Because no one's going to be there because they're rebuilding. They're actually giving
Captain American shield. That's so awesome.
And I love how J. Jamerson's like, that's a little much. Like, it kind of is a little bit like,
So, their plan is to go out there. Okay, this thing, the fight starts because he calls Jameson. Oh, I'm getting a phone call from the Peter Parker himself. The Menace himself has called this line. Then he's like, I'm talking to the people of New York City and all of that. So he basically wants to put his face out there just so those people can come to him because he has the box. Because he can still just hit that button.
So the villains need
But he says, I want you to know, guys, I did try to help you.
Right.
And I could have killed you at any moment, and I didn't.
I didn't.
But if you want it, here it is. So basically, come here, come and get it.
Right. And I also, I love that one line too, is I'm at the place where second chances are. Which is the Statue of Liberty. Like, oh, see, again, that's another funny tie back, because the original Spider-Man movie had a lot of patriotism in it. Because, again, it's the American flag, everyone in New York helping Spider-Man.
And this has it here, too.
Yeah, it has it here, too. Which that was a good callback. That was kind of subtle.
I like how Jameson calls the fans of Peter Parker his spider cult.
His spider cult.
Jesus, Jameson, you're such an ass.
Because that's what Mary Jane's looking at the tabloids. Oh, because he has spider powers.
They hypnotize people.
It's like, yes, my Spider-Lord.
So, he basically did a shout out, come and get it. So, they're going to do their thing. But they're kind of not getting the job done.
No, they're getting the butt kicked.
And I do like the fact how they call back to Maguire's back. It's like, oh, that's this lower back issues, man. But this, let me help you out. And then he kind of cracks his back. Oh, it feels so much better.
Well, because it's funny because he probably doesn't have anyone strong enough to actually crack his back, but Spider-Man can.
But so in that scene where he hurt his back, he actually, honest to God, did hurt his back. So when he's saying my back, that he was not acting, that he really did hurt his back. So that's actually such a funny callback to the Spider-Man film.
See all the little funny callbacks.
Oh, and also all the villains they fought, and then like Spider-Man, this Mark,
like,
I fought a purple guy in space. He's like, I fought a space alien, and Andrew's like, man, I feel kind of like
I want to fight an alien.
He's like, I never fought anything like this.
Man, I'm like the lame Spider-Man. He's like, no, man, you're pretty cool.
Yeah, because what was his movies called? They were called
Spectacular.
Spectacular. No, you're spectacular. And I'm like, this is so dumb. They're using a lot of like
the Amazing Spider-Man.
I found a rhino. I found a rhino.
I found a guy in a rhino machine.
And everyone's like, okay. It's like, yeah, you guys are so much cooler than me. Like, why is this?
You're amazing.
I have to say, Giamatti that played Rhino was so over the top. I like him as an actor, but he just played it too much. Too goofy. Way too goofy.
So, it's beautiful. Because then that's when the fight starts, and then it's kind of a big mess. So, they throw the box to Ned and MJ, open a portal to get through. But he's never closed the portal, so it's just open. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And he's like...
He's all, Abracadabra, magical, probably close, whatever, please.
You can't close it. You can't close it. It's like, oh, God. So the fight's going on. They're kind of getting smacked around a lot. And they're kind of getting beat up. And then they're kind of like, guys, we need to, like, work together. And they kind of regroup during the battle. Then he's like, I've never fought in a team. I don't know what to do. And then Tom Holland's like, I have. Guys, I know I was on the Avengers. And Tom McGuire's like, you were on the Avengers? That's amazing. What's the Avengers? And then like, was it a band? Are we in a band?
Are we like a rock band?
That's so stupid.
And then Holland's like, you know what? Never mind. No, it's not important. We're gonna coordinate our attack.
That's a callback to there's another Spider-Man that's like a punk rocker Spider-Man.
See, those are so many callbacks.
And what I also love about it too is I love how Tobey's so just understanding.
It's like, wow, that's great. What is that?
Yeah, what is that? Like, he's so nice. Like he better be a dad because he is acting like a dad. Like, so much.
He's like, we need to go out there. We need to trust each other and trust our spider senses.
He's like, okay.
And oh my God, do we have the coolest effing scene in comic book history? It's right up there with the Thor hammer.
Could you imagine the still shot when they're flying and the moon's up and all three of them? That is a comic book.
And they're webbing each other and throwing each other around.
And they all three land on the Statue of Liberty's head.
And they all have their poses.
That is a comic book cover. That is a cover.
I'm clapping. Yeah. And if someone wasn't clapping next to me, I'd grab their hands and make them clap. It's so beautiful.
I was so excited. I was like, wow, that was so awesome.
That's the most awesome because now they're working together.
Okay, let's take them one at a time. We'll go Sandman first, right?
We'll go Sandman first. So I'll go inside the Statue of Liberty and I'll kind of contain him.
And then you give me the device, I can shock it, and boom, he'll turn normal.
So, but they all fight their own villains. So Toby was fighting Sandman. And I thought that was great. And that was just so beautiful because then you have kind of like those, like, the redemption, that redemption they never got to have.
Right.
And then they're fighting, they're bouncing around, and he gets the antidote in there, and Sandman starts to just become human again. then he takes his mask off and he sees him. He's like, "Oh, that's the Peter. That's the real Peter Parker." And then he's like, "Just stay here. We're gonna get you home. You're gonna be your daughter."
Your daughter, and it's kind of nice because he kind of like in a weird way forgave him.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, 1 down, 2 more to go. But Green Goblin hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, nope.
So it's just Electro and Lizard now. Right now they're fighting.
So they're bouncing around. The Lizard starts going. He sees the portal there. And he sees the box and and then he's like, "Oh God, the dinosaurs here! You gotta shut the dinosaurs."
Closer. Okay, and then Mary Jane's like, "We're running. We have to run."
And then so Tom Holland Spider-Man goes in there. Okay, I gotta help him.
Yeah,
they're not gonna be able to handle this guy.
Yeah, he's gonna kill him.
Yeah,
but I do like the fact that they're able to get him back out of the portal, and then they we need help to get Doctor Strange back because he's been over the Grand Canyon for this whole entire time. Then he's like, "Who opened this portal?" And he's like, "You opened this portal?" I was like, "Oh,
He's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, he's like, that's how I'll keep an eye on that. That's interesting." So now they have Doctor Strange now, so that's pretty awesome. So they're able to. Who did they get first? They got Lizard first.
No, they got Electro.
Because what happened was at that moment, Doc Ock shows up.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Because remember, they got Lizard contained for a little while with the webbing.
Yeah, they got. He was
for like 5 minutes.
He's like, "Stay there, Doctor.
We'll work on you later in a minute."
And then he shows up and he's like, I want to kill him. He's shocking both the Peter Parkers.
Yeah, but then Doc Ock's able to get his claw in there and pull his...
Yeah, he pretends he's still a bad guy, but he's not. Like, I want to get these guys. They're mine. And then
he's like, "No, I don't need your help." And he's like, "Ha, double cross."
And then he gets the item and sticks him in the chest with it. And then he powers out.
And then it goes real quick. And then he loses. Because it was already at the almost max at that point.
And then I just love the fact that you have Tobey Maguire and Doc Ock, and then he's like, it's so good to see you, my boy.
Oh, my boy. It's so good.
I love it all.
You know what? All the other Spider-Man movies, like the redemption tour.
And what I love too, the moment I would have loved a little bit more if he would have said, he's like, because he does tell him, like, "I'm just trying to do what you do," always be like, good and be working hard. I wish he would have said, like, and stop being lazy, because never actually told me, "Peter, you're brilliant, but you're always lazy."
If you rewatch that thing and he's telling he's like, "Well, I'll do better." Then he says, "I'm doing better."
I'm following what you said. I'm doing better. And then Doc Ock's like,
so beautiful.
That's really good.
I love it so much.
Because it's an older Toby, so it's not that Toby. It's
like,
moment.
"You've grown up, my boy.
You grown up.
So how are you?" And he's like, "I'm better. Doing better.
Better.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they did more with redemption in this one film than 50 DC films combined.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, DC, you can't touch this.
Not even
you haven't gone close. I love Shazam.
I do.
But it doesn't even come close.
to this.
And then also, they've done so many character arcs, more than anything they've done for Captain Marvel. Anything.
These weren't even screw-ups by Sony when they did the original Maguire Spider-Man. Well, the first two anyways. But they still even kind of redemption fixed it in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying I need to be fixed, but they kind of did.
Like, and he saves Connors.
Saves Connors.
So it's like, everything's good now. Green Goblin still hasn't shown up. And then you hear the laughing and the bombs, and he freaking knocks out Doc Ock, and it's crazy because Goblin is unpredictable because he's absolutely out of his damn mind. See,
and he's super
Electro
strong.
wants to rule. I don't think Green Goblin cares if he dies.
No.
So that's a different kind of villain. That's like a Joker-esque villain where he doesn't give a
crap. I was about
crap.
to say, Joker and Green Goblin are on that same plane. Who's crazier? They're really up there.
So
Doctor Strange's like, "Forget it, I'm hitting the button. It was great that you saved all these people, but
we're not gonna be able to save this guy." But that's when
Green Goblin grabs the box.
Yeah, and then they're fighting for it. He put one of his bombs in there.
Mm-hmm. Boom! Now the spell's
out. The shield falls out. Now the spell's destroyed.
And we see, we saw in Loki, that it starts breaking apart, and you start seeing the multiverse
starts opening up again.
And you're like, whoa.
Oh, we gotta.
And did you notice that it looked like the same it did in Loki? That purple.
And there was a guy standing with a stick. I'm like, who the frick is that?
See, if anyone can say who were those people in the shadows.
Was that Kang the Conqueror?
Who knows?
I know. I saw Rhino. I saw Kraven.
Look, a guy that might have been Kraven then, or a Scorpion kind of guy.
Scorpion, yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But then they all start fighting, and then Tom Holland starts fighting Green Goblin, but he's going all out.
Wow, now he's going all out.
Because he punches the metal part and it bends.
So crazy, and he says, "You're now low." It looks like going, "Oh, that's good." You're so psycho, Green
Goblin. I want you to kill me again, like a Joker.
Crazy.
Kill me.
Take the power in your own hands, make it happen.
Yeah.
So he's able to did you do that power slam? He flipped up,
boom, and then boom. Boom,
and they're on top. They're on in the bottom part of the the Captain American shield from this.
Yeah, it was a shield fell.
Oh, that was funny. That's when Ned got the cape to go around him.
Yeah, to save him.
He's like,
yeah. Speaking of saving, all that other scene was so good.
Andrew,
because once the shield fell, Mary Jane falls too, And
so
then Toby, our Peter, I'm going to say our Peter, the newest Peter, Tom Holland, he's going to go get her, but boom, he gets hit by Green Goblin, so she's still falling. Then Andrew Garfield, instead of shooting his web, he just launches himself down, then he grabs her, and he lands, and he's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." He's like,
he's crying. Because think about it, if he went down that dark path, and it's like he got redemption.
I saved.
Not only in a way I got redemption for myself, I got redemption for him not going down that dark path. Hopefully.
Yeah, I saved a Spider-Man's girlfriend, his love. It might not have been mine, but
it gave me some comfort.
Yeah, it was so beautiful. It's but then again, the theater exploded with cheers
because he saved her.
That's the movie experience, guys.
Because you know why? Because we have grown up with all these movies. We've seen them. Everyone in that theater saw all the other Spider-Mans, and they were like, "He saved her." Yes,
everyone's loving it.
Yes.
So that was a beautiful scene. So he's separated, so he's not down there with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He's starting to beat up Green Goblin, gets him to the ground. He picks up the glider with the things, and he's going to kill him. He was going to kill him. He's about to bring him down, but then Tobey Maguire, boom, stops him. He's like,
I can't do this.
Like, we don't do this. And he's like, because they're both the same strength level, and he's like, I'm not going to let you do this. We're Spider-Man. We don't do this. And then Green Goblin's like, hey. He's just a slimy
and then he pulls out his blade and stabs
Tobey Maguire. Boom.
And then Tobey's like, and then everyone's like, oh my gosh, did he die? Because that's another where the audience was like, like that moment. Or
because at this point, they killed Aunt May, which is shocking. So anything's on the table now. You're like, wow.
I'm like, oh, no. Like, I do not want this one bit.
And then, of course, then you got Green Goblin still talking to Tom Holland.
Still saying, so weak.
Still so weak. She's dead because of you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he wants.
See all this? See him laying there? You did this.
God. So our Peter's just beating the heck out of him. And then we think, oh my gosh, he's going to kill him. Like, there's just no way no one's going to stop him.
This whole action scene is just so good.
Good.
Man, is it good.
And then there's that last second where Andrew throws him the antidote. And then we thought, oh, it's Peter. And then sure enough, he sticks him.
I guess he needed 2 doses.
I think he got like 3 doses of that.
Yeah. And the perfected one from Toby.
Yeah.
So then it worked.
And he's like, oh,
then Norman's like, he's looking around. He's like, "What did I do?
What have I done?
Oh, he's in such shock. He's just like on his knees, like, oh my goodness, I killed Aunt May. I could have killed. I might have killed another Spider-Man. What am I doing?
Yeah, and Tom Holland looks at him. It's like, yeah,
so there's this whole thing. The freaking sky is cracking.
Yeah. He's Strange is trying to fix it all, and he's like, I don't know if I can. And
he's up there trying to go like this. He's like, oh, I can't do this.
But then Tom Holland goes up there. He's like, just do a new spell, make everyone forget. Everyone. It's like your girlfriend, everyone. No one's going to know that Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And he goes, I'm not going to know. He's like, do it. And no one's going to give up everything.
And he's like, no one will even know you, Peter Parker. You will literally be a brand new person.
Yeah.
And then he's like, do it. Because he just saw everything, all the Spider-Man sacrificed.
And he also goes in and he says, okay, do your goodbyes now.
He goes, get about like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Goes down there and talks to the other Spider-Mans. And then, like, he gives him the big spider hugs. Oh, God, I love it.
I kind of love it when Kiss Maguire's looking at this guy. Am I dying? Oh, okay, I'm not dying.
He's like, the sky's opening up and I'm seeing shadow people. Like, am I dying?
And then Andrew's like, no, we all see that, so it's all good. And he picks him up. And I love the part, too. He's like, I've been stabbed before. I'm fine. Like, it just hurts really, really bad.
Then Tom Holland's like, oh, he talked to MJ stuff. And he's like, you're in a lot of pain, aren't you? I'm in a lot of pain.
I'm in a lot of pain. Because I'm smiling, but I'm like, oh, fix this.
And then I love the fact that, too, they're all like, I just so much want to say. And then we're all like, we know. We're all you. So we know we're all feeling the same thing. And I love that part. He's like, I love you guys, and you guys were great. It's almost like a good passing of the torch of like honoring the past Spider-Man. Like I'm here because of you.
Even if you thought some of the Spider movies weren't good, this gave such reverence to the Spider-Man. My goodness.
Even though I thought the Andrew Garfield films weren't that great, this made me want to watch one more. Make one more.
Yeah.
He goes back.
I agree.
And
maybe he finds his MJ.
I want him to be happy.
Yes, we all do. I think.
So
I mean, as much as I would love to see Comer die, don't get me wrong. I think I want to see Garfield a little more because he's got more unresolved problems.
Yeah, little
in his life.
Business.
Other business that he needs to finish now.
So he basically goes up there and he's like, "Okay, guys, we're gonna fix this, but it's the new spell and everyone's gonna forget." And then Mary Jane's like, "I don't want to forget."
Yeah.
But he's like, "Can't. Got it. I have. There's no other way. There has to be another way. We can figure this out." He's like, "No, Mary Jane, there is no other way." And he's like, "Ned, you're not gonna know me."
And he's like, well, you're still going to find me, though, right? And
he's like, I'll do anything to find you. And then the other hugs. And then Mary Jane's like, well, I'll just figure it out like I did last time. And it's so sad because this is the Mary Jane I want, where she's not being a snooty bitch.
This whole movie,
they got rid of all
this
that.
whole movie changed her so much and so
After
well.
like the 20-minute mark, she became the Mary Jane that I want.
Yeah.
Instead of this.
The one that loves Peter Parker and wants to help him.
Yeah.
Right. I know. I almost like that because again, they kind of started off in the first movie where she was kind of obsessed with Peter, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that. And then of course they had a lot of weird stuff with her, and this is like, yes, finally, she's kind of like that person that's in love with Peter, and it's like, oh.
But then they get their big kiss, and then the spell everything locks up, and then Doctor Strange is floating in the sky like, okay, what the hell am I doing here? And then we kind of see the sun, and then it's like, yeah, I guess everyone forgot who Peter
Everyone
Parker
forgot,
was.
yeah. So he goes to the coffee shop.
No, because Joan Jenner's Spider-Man and his antics on the Statue of Liberty. He's a menace to society, and if he was a true hero, he would show his face. Because who would hero hides behind a mask?
We're going back to that again.
Know what I love about that is because we saw what you did when you saw his face. You're still a piece of crap, Jameson, you jerk.
Yeah.
So then he's like, oh, then he's out there. Who's the Spider-Man, and why doesn't he turn himself in?
And then and Mysterio's the greatest hero of all time. I'm like, okay, guys. Like,
we're gonna break for Joan Jameson supplements. He has his stupid podcast. Right. I love it. It's so dumb. He's like at his own basement. Then we kind of see, Peter Parker walking, and then he goes to Mary Jane's shop, and
he has a whole letter.
He has a letter. What I'm going to tell her. Then he sees her, and she looks at him, and then she like starts to wave to him. He's like, oh my god! But she's waving to Ned behind him.
So she still knows Ned.
She still knows Ned. They got into MIT. He's like, oh, that and everything, and he's smiling because my friends got what they got their futures. And he walks up there, and he's like, hey. She's like, well, can I help you? It's the cup of coffee. And then you think like, oh, does she know? But she's just being nice. Yeah. She's just being, whatever.
But it's the way she's even talking to him. There's that little twinkle that she might remember. Like,
right.
She's looking at him like, do I know you? Like that weird kind of like.
And it's kind of sweet because if you think about it, it kind of reminds me of the old comic books. Why was Mary J like always around Peter? And this way, it kind of explains it because it's so familiar to her. It feels so familiar. It feels like you feel like I should be with you in like a weird way. And this side makes a lot of sense.
So you went to MIT. So you're going to MIT. Oh yeah, I can't believe it. I always expect the worst. And then he finishes the sentence.
Yeah, he's over there, so you're never disappointed. Man. She's like, but this time Phil's different. And he's like, and then, the whole time he should have just been crying the whole time.
So he goes in his pocket. He's gonna pick out the letter,
and then he's like,
then she moves her hair, and she's a big old
scar
on her head.
Yeah, from this, like, oh, it doesn't hurt anymore. The time heals everything.
Yeah,
so like, she's saying all the things to him of like, just let this all go.
Yeah,
and
then he pays for his coffee,
puts the letter back in his pocket, and walks.
And then we see him walking. The guy, rent's due on the 1st of the month, and he can't be late. So we got Peter Parker with no money, poor, trying to do his best to maybe get into school. So he's the classic Peter Parker.
So you can't complain about the MCU being tied with him with Iron Man. That's gone. Yeah. Matter of fact, I think MCU might be gone for him. They could just do Sony.
How come he's not Spider-Man, Iron Man Jr. anymore? And they start bitching about that. And then they.
I know, right?
And what makes it even funnier, he has to get his GED because they literally have no record of him. So he's gonna have to show up, just be like, "Hey, I am." Peter Parker.
Probably get some underground papers from someone.
People don't understand. They don't know who Peter Parker is. Forget just Spider-Man. They don't know that.
So
that he was Spider-Man.
And Aunt May's dead.
And so what I like about this...
He's never been this alone, ever.
And what I like about this, though, is that it's so classic, it even makes sense now. Because I even thought in the old comics, I'm like, even if you're a nerdy kid, if you're really smart, you'd get into any school you wanted. But with this, he's coming from nothing. Literally, no one knows him. So how would you get into...
And who's going to even give me a chance?
Right. Because before he could build up some, people in school, be like, oh, no, this kid's really good. Kind of like what happened with Doc Ock and Peter. This way, it makes sense why he's going to have to be a photographer and be really smart.
He's truly alone.
And this Joan Jameson's so obsessed with Spider-Man, I can sell him pictures of Spider-Man. There you go. We get our classic Peter Parker.
They're fixing all that.
They fixed every issue that anyone ever had with the MCU Spider-Man.
And also made it a little bit better because he's still going to be around his friends, probably get them back in a weird way. Because if Mary J's MIT, she's going to be in science. She's going to still be in New York City. He's going to be around that stuff. It would be funny
if he got to MIT now. He got in.
And the funny thing, he did go to Aunt May's grave. And Happy's there. He's like, oh, how did you know her? Because she helped so many like homeless people. So I knew her through Spider-Man. He's like, yeah, me too. And then it's just like, you don't know me either. Everything's so sad. Mm-hmm. Then he's like, take care of yourself. And he's like, okay, see you later, guy.
I love how he makes he has a classic Spider-Man suit now. Like
he went and he sewed it and everything, and it's kind of shiny blue, and it looks like the classic Spider-Man suit. So there you go, haters. We got our classic Spider-Man back, and he's like,
guys, he's like I said, he's more alone. There's no Aunt May this time. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing.
And what's he doing? He's on the police scanner looking for people who need help.
Street level.
That's what Spider-Man does.
Which is great.
And him swinging through the air, and then people are skating. I love it. It's Spider-Man, and I love it.
And I love it because it's Christmas time, and it's so nice. And it's funny, the movie came out in Christmas time, so I'm like, oh man, this just fits way too well.
But then we get a credit scene, and then we hear Tom Hardy. Because I guess Venom was there too, but I guess he ended up with some island.
It's all weird at first because he was in Mexico, like probably Cabo, Mexico. Because at the end of the Venom 2 movie, he goes to this world, but we weren't sure that he did, but he is. He is in the MCU
So he's like, explain this to me again. There's all kinds of super people here. And he's like, oh yeah, yes, the Hulk, and then the freaking Venom's like, and you thought Lethal Enforcer was a stupid name. The Hulk is a really stupid name. And then he's like, so there was this purple guy who wants rings. He was an alien. He's the one rings. He want to eat people's brains.
So why don't we go meet this guy? Like this whole time he's been in Mexico. He hasn't
where the hell he's at? And the guy's like, sir, I don't know what you're talking about.
He's like, yeah, because they talk about the stones. Like, so he's after stones, and he's like, that erased my whole family for 5 years. He's like, what are you talking about? like,
I don't know any of this. Fine, we'll. And like how again, just like how Venom's like, we're drunk. Let's get naked. He's being stupid. Yeah. Then it's like, okay, let's go find this kid. We need to go talk to the Spider-Man guy. But then he's like, oh no, he gets pulled back.
Happening again, and he goes back to his world.
So he goes back to the Sonyverse.
Yeah.
But on the counter is a little tiny bit of Venom.
And that's how we're gonna get Venom now.
But wouldn't that tiny speck have gone back too?
I think when it left his body, it became a new thing, like a reborn.
Yeah, he had like a symbiote baby basically.
Yeah.
So that technically was a Venom that was made in that universe.
So that means if anyone in this short time had a baby, that baby would be stuck in that universe.
If they somehow would have had a baby within the first like 3 days.
Yeah.
So pretty awesome. Then we get there's two stingers. Another one is literally a trailer for the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
We hear some voices and it's like, well, Doctor Strange, there's punishments for the things that you did. Even though you think you fixed it, you're going to be punished for it.
Which was his friend from the first movie.
Yeah.
Because he got mad because remember that's what he's like, you used the time stone, you abused time, and you're going to have to pay for it.
You're supposed to be a gatekeeper, not using it.
Yeah.
Then we kind of see a scene where you see him walking in like this like field, and then he's like, Wanda. I'm like, oh, we see Wanda. And he's like, I need to talk to you. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, what happened? She's like, I'm not talking about, what was that place called?
Something like Somerville.
He's like, I'm not talking about, I need your help. And because like, yeah, whatever happened with that, whatever, I don't even care. Because I guess there's some bigger, badder magic stuff going on.
And they open up portals, and it's all these different, like...
Literally, no. So I'm guessing there's like some kind of council of time people. Is this because again, it can't be, because how's this match up with the Loki variant stuff?
See, is it the Living Tribunal?
who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. That's supposed to be part of Eternals, but they didn't do that, but whatever.
So then we see Scarlet Witch in her outfit. She looks perfection. Because it's not her circlet isn't as pointy, but it's more ornate. They took the perfect version of updating that costume. She still is fine as hell. Yeah. It's still badass. Oh, her Scarlet Witch is so freaking
But then awesome. We see American Chavez, which no one knows who she is.
Yeah, but you see her star jacket? Yeah. I know who she is. Nobody else knows who she is.
I think Nini, Crimson, and I think Native, and that was about it in the theater.
And I thought, I'm like, gosh, why did they have to throw her in there?
It makes no sense why she can like punch portals, like star portals, and she can fly, and she's super strong.
Remember all the awesomeness we were talking about the 3 Spider-Man? This is like the complete opposite of that.
So I guess kind of in the review of the Doctor Strange trailer. But and then we see like an evil Doctor Strange. Is this the evil one from the What Ifs?
What Ifs? Because that'd be kind of cool. But then why would he be bad? Because he kind of.
But like they said, the ultimate menace is you. Because this is someone that did what you did, but took it to the extreme.
Yeah,
and went bad.
Yeah, but again, if it is the one from the What Ifs, that lady's alive in this universe. Just go be with her.
Who knows?
Right. Leave it all behind.
Yeah, who knows?
Because this Strange is not with her, So it's like, yeah.
But that's the end of the Spider-Man film, the best Spider-Man film ever.
All time.
Because it brought together the other ones.
Yes.
And gave them respect. The respect.
I'm gonna say this right now. Is this the best Spider-Man trilogy of all time? These 3 movies? I think so.
This last film is so good.
I think all three of them are. I think all three are because the other two were good too. Mysterio was good, and the first one was good with Tom Holland in it.
Yeah, it was good, and it's good enough to where like, hey, give him another 3 movies, give him another 6 movies. I don't care. Tom Holland.
I think, but again, I want a standalone Andrew Garfield something
and a
standalone Tobey Maguire just to wrap it up.
Because could you imagine how nice would it be in that standalone Andrew Garfield? He finds Mary Jane, and then
he doesn't have to find her. He doesn't have to even be with her. Just he knows, oh, that's my Mary Jane. There it is.
There it is. So he gets some closure, happiness. Like you said with Tobey, married Mary Jane, had a daughter. She's gonna be Spider-Girl in that universe. Ah, beautiful. Perfect. Give me those movies. I will pay money for them.
I just want to see that. I want to see a Garfield film. I want to see a Maguire film. Why not? They'd make $1 billion. Who cares? Just make them.
They're so... Oh my goodness. They're making money out of this movie. This movie's going to smash all records.
Even if it was a 30-minute what if, I don't care. I want to see it. I want to see it back.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so yeah, we coming over an hour and a half.
I know.
Jeez Louise. But that's how cool this movie was.
Yeah.
We went almost half as long as the movie is. That's how good it is.
Oh, jeez. We'll probably have to cut this up to 2-parters or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably keep it together. Who cares? It's fun. Yeah. We're going to have a lot of repeating pictures on this one. But go see it. Go see it twice. It's great. It's so much fun.
Yes.
Just tons of fun. And that's what movies are about, is having fun. Having emotions and experiences. Now, thank God I saw a Mexican on the screen just like me. That's not what films are for.
Remember, even though they lied through their teeth and Marvel a year ago said making memories?
Yeah.
That's what these should be.
I'll never forget this movie theater experience.
Nope.
And it had nothing to do with the skin colors of the people on the screen.
No, didn't matter.
Nothing. Not a damn thing.
Yep.
So, Marvel, keep doing this. Disney, keep doing this. And then we'll have an MCU for a long time.
Yep. For decades.
There's no such thing as superhero fatigue. It's like saying I get too much of a good thing fatigue.
I have too much movie fatigue. Okay.
Yeah. Did movies ever stop being a thing? Did movies stop being made?
Was there such thing as a sci-fi fatigue? No. It's just you have to make quality. That's all.
Because you start making crap.
Yeah.
But excellent. Loved it. It's just amazing and spectacular.
That's what we said after the film made native.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Yeah, we're being funny.
No, but actually we were being serious.
We were being serious. It was weird.
But loved it. There's nothing else more to say. If I want to know people's complaints, I really do.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
None. I mean, I've even seen some people say, "Well, it's a 9 out of 10." No, this is a perfect 10. I don't know how you can see this.
Again, because there's the belief that there's no such thing as something that's perfect.
That's so dumb.
But for a Spider-Man film, it had everything I wanted in a Spider-Man film.
What else more would I want?
Yeah.
Besides Venom. Yeah. Would have been nice if Topher Grace was in this.
Yeah, but we're gonna get a Venom now, though.
Yeah. And it's him. Oh, that'd be great.
Oh gosh.
Oh, AD. Crimson's in here. Thanks for watching the video. Remember, you can contact us on any of the social media platforms in the description down below. And while you're here, be sure to click on one of the videos over on the right.